Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, the women's basketball team rides a historic win streak into the end of the regular season.
And the women's swimming and dive team competes in the Big Ten Championships in Columbus, Ohio. This is Hoosier Sports Night. Welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Meredith Struing.
And I'm Michael Tilka.
It was quite a senior day for IU women's basketball last Saturday when they said goodbye to a pair of program legends at Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. IUS-TV women's basketball beat reporter Dan Black has the story.
It was a special day Saturday afternoon inside Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. Not only did the Indiana women's basketball team pick up their 7th straight victory, defeating Nebraska 83-75, they also celebrated seniors Amanda Cahill and Tyra Buss on Senior Day. It was a game that very much symbolized the way the seniors have played throughout their 4 seasons at Indiana. The leading scorer in program history, Buss put on a show offensively. The guard finished the game with 37 points and did it in all different ways. She was 8 for 8 from the free throw line. She constantly attacked the rim, much like any game she would play, and of course, she was not afraid to hit some threes, as she shot 3 for 9 from beyond the arc, all 3 coming in the third quarter. For Cahill, while quietly scoring 16 points, made her mark with the hustle stats. She grabbed 10 rebounds for her 9th double-double of the season. She also swatted away a season-high 7 shots. For head coach Terry Morin, the game was fitting for her seniors, who have been with her throughout her 4 years at the helm.
Well, it's only fitting that Tyra and B can complete their 4 years of just, regular season here in Assembly Hall and get a great win over a really, really good Nebraska team.
Although it was a special day and a big victory for the Hoosiers, the 2 seniors are now looking forward to finishing off their final season in a big way.
It's just on to the next, and we got to forget about this one, and we just got to keep it rolling because, every game matters.
The Hoosiers currently sit 7th in the Big Ten standings. The Hoosiers are just 1 game behind the Iowa Hawkeyes, who they will face on their final game of the season in Iowa City. Reporting for IUS-TV Sports, I'm Dan Black.
Senior guard Tyra Buss led the charge for IU's 8th straight victory Tuesday night at Minnesota, where she scored 36 points and added 7 assists and 5 rebounds. The Hoosiers are now 16-12 on the season and 9-6 in the Big Ten play. Their 8 straight wins ties a program record for consecutive Big Ten victories set in the 1982-83 season. Indiana will end their regular season this Saturday when they face the Iowa Hawkeyes in Iowa City. The Hoosiers could end up anywhere from the 3 to 6 seed in the Big Ten tournament with a win.
With the end of the regular season within arm's reach, IUS-TV men's basketball beat reporter Zain Pyarali joins us in studio to talk with our very own Juan Diego Alvarado about the regular season, postseason, and more. Juan?
First of all, Zain, thanks for being here with us today. Let's talk about this month, February. What a great month for Hoosier basketball. 4 out of 5 wins. What do you think is behind this success on the court?
Well, first of all, you look at these wins, and it all starts on defense. They only gave up 43 points to Rutgers, 56 to Minnesota, and 68 to Illinois. They gave up 82 to Iowa, but Iowa's a very good offensive team. They started the game 10 of 10 in that game at Iowa, but then the last 30 minutes of the game, they really locked them down and held them to, I think, 17 made baskets for the rest of the game. So that's been number 1. Number 2, offensively, the bench players have been stepping up more. More guys are scoring in double figures. I always said that they need another scorer outside Juwan Morgan and Robert Johnson. That's what they got. And then better ball control also. Not really a whole lot of turnovers. You saw against Nebraska on Tuesday night, they turned the ball over 19 times. That's really why they lost. And so whenever they were winning, didn't turn the ball over a lot, and then good defense, good offense, everything really combined, just a lot of key parts working together.
Regular season is coming to a close here in Bloomington for senior night against Ohio State, the Buckeyes. What are your thoughts for this upcoming matchup?
Well, I think that this game is going to be pretty tough for Indiana, considering the last time out, Indiana was beat 71-56 against Ohio State, but I think Archie Miller has more on that.
We were physically dominated in the game. We were a step slow to every loose ball. We were very lack of physicality on our offensive side of the ball in terms of the way we screened, the way we cut. They were the more forceful team in that game. And they have a very connected team on both ends of the floor. They're very underrated defensively. They're one of the best defenses in the country. They have great length. They're very tough. And they, to be honest with you, they've been able to have a successful season because they have good parts. And in our first game, lack of physical toughness, lack of energy. There was a lot of things we didn't have in place that night to be able to give them a better game. And hopefully in our building, we have a little bit more pep in our step, so to speak.
So, Zain, what do you think is essential for IU basketball to show on the court to come up on top against the Buckeyes?
Well, you heard what Archie Miller said. He said that really the last time out, they were just outmatched. And that was a game whenever they played Purdue on Sunday and then had to go to Ohio State on Tuesday. So they were very worn down from playing Purdue. And it's just all about energy with this team and stopping Keita Bates-Diop. And then they have really good guard play, too, with C.J. Jackson, Jayshawn Tate, and then even Andrew Dockich also. So this is a very complete Ohio State team. But if you've seen how teams have beaten them recently in the past couple games, whenever they've picked up losses, it's just because they've locked down on defense and held them to low point scoring.
And speaking of senior night, 5 seniors will not be here in Bloomington next year. What do you think are going to be the repercussions about Archie Miller's side losing these 5 essential players?
Well, it won't be too big. I think the biggest loss for this team out of the seniors is going to be Robert Johnson. I mean, 14 points a game for this Indiana team, but he means much more than that to the program just because of what he's able to do on the court and off the court, Juan. I mean, from the moment that Archie Miller and his staff got to campus, Robert Johnson was really all in. Archie had some strong sentiments about Robert Johnson today at his press conference.
Probably can't put it into words just how much he's given to our staff. It hasn't been just like one day or 1 week. It's been literally the first second we arrived on campus till today. He has been all in, and he's worked extremely hard, not only individually on his own game, but he's really just done an amazing job of giving everything he has to our process. And regardless of how this season finishes up, he individually, from a statistical standpoint, I don't know if guys will look at it, but what he's meant to the program in terms of giving us an opportunity to build, to compete, to be able to get better all season long. When you're Iron Man, your seniors can go in a lot of different ways when there's change, and especially when there's a lot of ups and downs in a season. And to me, he is as ready right now as he was at the start of the season when there was a lot of excitement. And he'll go down as one of the guys, hopefully as we build season upon season that you look back on and say he gave us a chance.
And after the regular season comes to an end, IU will travel to the Big Apple, New York City, to play in one of the greatest arenas of the world, Madison Square Garden. What do you think are the expectations for IU in the Big Ten tournament?
Well, Juan, it really depends on where they end up. They can either finish 6th or 7th in the Big Ten. If they finish 7th, then they'll play the 10 seed on Thursday, and they'll know who they're playing for about 3 days. And they'll have time to prepare for that team and really work out all the kinks that they need to. But then if they get the 6th seed, they'll play the winner of a play-in game, 11 versus 14, and then they'll play the winner of that, so they'll have only about 24 hours to prepare for that. So it really just depends on the matchups in this tournament. That's what every tournament is about. But if you look at Indiana, they should realistically win their first-round matchup. Second-round matchup should be kind of interesting depending on who they play, but I wouldn't be surprised if they drop that one. But who knows? Maybe they can make a run to the semifinals. They've been playing well as of late.
And finally, what do you think the Hoosiers need to do to accomplish the goal of getting to the semifinals, to the final of the Big Ten tournament?
Well, I mean, I think it just all starts on defense. I mean, you look at the 4 of the last 5 games where they've won, it's all been on defense and locking teams down defensively. And it's going to be really tough for them because eventually they'll have to run into Purdue, Michigan State, Ohio State again. We'll see what happens on senior night if they're able to stop Ohio State, but all teams that have outmatched them this year, and even teams like Michigan and Nebraska still beat them. So, I mean, you look at the top 5 in the Big Ten, Indiana hasn't been able to knock off any of those teams. They've been good against the bottom half, but it's going to be tough to get past the top half, and then if they want to make it to the NCAA tournament, they have to win the entire Big Ten tournament, which is kind of unlikely, so might be heading to the NIT after this.
Sam, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Meredith, back to you.
Thanks, Juan. That senior day game against Ohio State at Simon Scott Assembly Hall will be on Friday, February 23rd at 8 p.m. The women's swimming and diving team looked to add another Big Ten championship to the historic program this past weekend in Columbus, Ohio. Our beat reporter Drew Fry has the story.
58 personal best times, 10 medals, 5 Big Ten titles, and 2 Big Ten records. In other words, it was a productive weekend for the Hoosiers. IU finished second overall in the Big Ten championships, falling only to number 5 Michigan. This marks the 10th straight year that the Hoosiers have finished in the top 2 in the conference. Several Hoosiers were recognized individually for their performances. Freshman Grace Haskett, juniors Christine Jensen and Lily King, and senior Allie Rocket were all named to first team All-Big Ten. Junior Jessica Parado earned a spot as well for diving. Parado won the Big Ten title in the platform diving, and King became the first woman in Big Ten history to sweep both breaststroke events for 3 years straight. Meanwhile, Haskett, Jensen, King, and Rocket set Big Ten records with their 200 and 400 medley relays. Their 200 medley relay even came within 0.06 of a second of the NCAA record. One Hoosier was even recognized outside of the pool, as Rachel Matsumura was announced as a Big Ten Sportsmanship Award nominee. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Drew Fry.
The team will have a break from competition for a little while, as their next meet won't be until March. Meanwhile, the men's team will take on the Big Ten championships this weekend in Minneapolis.
Indiana baseball kicked off their season last weekend when they traveled to South Carolina to compete in the Britton Resorts Baseball at the Beach round-robin tournament. It was a strong weekend for the Hoosier baseball team as they finished with a 3-1 record. They lost the opener to Oklahoma by a score of 6-3, but then rebounded to win 3 straight. On Saturday, junior Paulie Milto put in a strong performance, pitching 6 innings of one-hit baseball and striking out 5 in the Hoosiers' win against the Kansas State Wildcats. Senior Logan Sowers led the Indiana offense, going 7 for 16 at the plate and hitting a pair of home runs on the weekend. Junior college transfer Logan Kalitha was the hero on Sunday, hitting a walk-off grand slam to beat the South Alabama Jaguars 8-4. To cap things off on Monday, it was Luke Miller's turn as he hit a pair of home runs and drove in 5 runs in a 6-5 win over Coastal Carolina. The Hoosiers will be back in action this weekend when they travel to Port Charlotte, Florida for the Snowbird Baseball Classic. They'll take on Boston College, Chicago State, and Rutgers. When Hoosier Sports Night continues, new riders for the Little 500 bike race get ready to train during Rookie Week.
And the IU men's and women's tennis teams have a victorious week. You are watching Hoosier Sports Night.
Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night. With warmer weather right around the corner, your Little 500 rookies are taking to the bike track. Our very own Mary Kate Hamilton was able to head to Bill Armstrong Stadium to catch the action.
Last Monday marked the start of Rookie Week, a 2-week training period for all bikers new to the Little 500. During Rookie Week, riders learn everything from how to correctly mount a bike, to proper safety techniques, to race rules. The bikers, often freshmen, are taught by veteran bikers who are a part of the Indiana Student Foundation's Riders Council. Rookies of all ability levels come together to learn as one, and Riders Council member Anna Darling said the camaraderie is her favorite part of the 2 weeks.
We all of these rookies are from different teams, Greek teams, non-Greek teams, but they're all out here together. We're all cold together. We're all falling off the bike together, and everyone really it's a good bond that I think happens within the Little 5 community and really helps bring everyone together.
The women's Little 500 race will be on Friday, April 20th, and the men's race will take place the following Saturday. To buy tickets for either race, visit the IU Student Foundation's website. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Mary Kate Hamilton.
Be sure to keep watching IUS TV Sports as we will have your Little 500 news leading up to the big races.
The Indiana women's tennis team traveled to South Bend this past weekend as they split the doubleheader with Notre Dame and Wright State. In the first matchup against Notre Dame, the Hoosiers took the double point to grab a 1-0 lead. 4 of the 6 singles matches went to 3 sets, but only won 2 of those. The Hoosiers were within 1 match of winning as the score was tied 3-3, but senior Siwei Kai blew a 5-1 lead in the 3rd set, losing 7-5. In the match against Wright State, it was a breeze. The Hoosiers got the doubles point early and went on to win the match 4-0, with wins from Caitlin Bernard, Jelly Bozovic, and Olga Zafratonia. Indiana's record now stands at 9-2 as they head to the East Coast with matchups against Cornell and Princeton this weekend.
IU men's tennis added 1 more victory to its record and stands at 6-4 overall after sweeping rival Purdue on the road. The Hoosiers were superior to the Boilermakers in both singles and doubles to get a 5-0 sweep. In singles, junior Antonio Simbayin, sophomores Bennett Crane and Zach Brodney, and freshman Brandon Land came up on top all in 2 sets to clinch the win. Up next, the team returns to Bloomington to face the number 35th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores.
And moving from the court to the diamond, Indiana softball continued their month-long road trip last weekend in Atlanta as a part of the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Indiana played 4 games, losing twice to Georgia Tech and splitting a 2-game series with Boston College. With the help of a few errors, sophomore Katie Lacefield provided a spark in Saturday's win over the Golden Eagles with 3 RBIs, but the Hoosiers couldn't string multiple wins together over the weekend. The Hoosiers continue their 23-game road trip next weekend as they travel to Homewood, Alabama to face Lipscomb and Samford.
That does it for our show here this week, but don't forget to like our page IUS TV Sports on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IUS TV Sports. For Meredith Struwing, I'm Michael Tilka. We'll see you next week.